Before I begin, let me answer quietly, just between you and the truth you keep running from. If all you possessed was $100, would you treat it as the seed of your escape or the excuse to gamble for a shortcut? Because the market has a strange way of revealing a man's character long before it ever exposes his strategy, and most traders fail not because the market is too complex, but because they cannot accept the humility required to start small. They chase freedom, yet they disrespect the very money that could eventually buy it. When I first sat in front of the tape, I discovered something most traders never grasp. Small capital isn't a handicap. It's an examination, a test of discipline, judgment, and whether you crave excitement or results. A man who cannot safeguard $100 is unworthy of $10,000. And whenever I watch someone blow up a tiny account, it was never the market that broke him. It was his impatience with humble beginnings. You may think $100 is nothing, but let me share something only experience teaches. The market notices how you treat your money. If you treat $100 like a toy, it behaves like one. It vanishes the moment you become careless. But if you treat it as a soldier, a worker, a piece of capital tasked with building your future, something in you shifts. You stop firing trades just to feel alive. You stop clicking buttons out of boredom. You begin trading with intention, and intention is the only soil in which compounding grows. What most traders actually fear isn't losing trades. It's facing themselves. With $100, you cannot hide behind leverage, fancy strategies, or oversized bets. Your weaknesses sit in the open. Every mistake feels heavier. Every impulse becomes costly, and that is exactly why a small account is powerful. It confronts you with the trader in the mirror long before the market punishes you on a larger scale. When I traded with small capital, I didn't envy traders with big accounts. I observed them. Most of them blew up even faster because a large account only magnifies recklessness. But the one who protects small capital with discipline learns something priceless, the art of survival. And survival is the true beginning of freedom. You don't compound money until you've compounded discipline. You don't grow an account until you've gained control over your impulses. If you want to transform $100 into something significant, stop seeing it as a limitation. See it as training. The market isn't testing your skill. It's testing your patience. Testing whether you can wait for the setup that belongs to you. Testing whether you can follow your rules when everything tempts you to break them. The small account is the battleground where a trader either becomes professional or remains a gambler wearing a trader's costume. Because the truth is simple. $100 is enough to build freedom if you master the person holding it. Compounding doesn't begin in the account. It begins in the decisions, the restraint, the maturity to understand that trading is not about speed but precision. Not about constant action, but correct action. And the man who learns this with $100 becomes unstoppable with $10,000. Most traders misunderstand compounding because they only see numbers on a chart, imagining the account doubling, tripling, skyrocketing as if discipline ensures speed. But compounding isn't a numerical miracle. It's a psychological shift. A man compounds money only after he compounds judgment. And judgment is built in the quiet moments when you choose not to enter a trade, not to chase, not to betray your own plan. With $100, every mistake is expensive. That is the gift. It forces you to build standards you should have had from the start. Standards many traders never develop because they're larger. Accounts hide their flaws behind temporary luck, but a small account reveals everything. It shows where you hesitate, where you rush, where you justify nonsense because you want to feel like a trader instead of being one. And once those weaknesses appear, you must choose. Face them or repeat them. Believe me, I repeated mine long enough to learn the price of stubbornness. I chased moves. I revenge traded. I entered positions I had no business touching simply because the tape moved sharply and I feared missing out. I watched profits evaporate because I refused to take them, telling myself the market owed me just a little more. And every time the market answered in the same cold way, without sympathy, slowly, painfully. Through losses I couldn't afford, I absorbed the lesson. You cannot compound money if you cannot control yourself. A small account teaches you to wait, not because waiting is noble, but because it's necessary. Eventually, you notice something powerful. When you stop chasing every movement, the noise quiets. Patterns reveal themselves. Opportunities stop feeling random. You begin to see where the crowd panics, where amateurs rush, where the market baits emotion and rewards patience. And when you take a trade from that clarity, even a small position feels like a victory of discipline, not luck. The trader who starts with $100 and refuses to break his rules becomes a different man. He no longer needs fast movement. He no longer needs big wins to feel worthy. He no longer trades to prove anything. He trades because the setup exists, and because he has learned the most valuable mindset of all. Small, steady progress is more powerful than dramatic swings. The market doesn't reward the dramatic. It rewards the patient. It rewards the steady. It rewards the person who lets time become an ally, not an enemy. That is where real compounding begins, not in the trade, but in your refusal to sabotage your account seeking excitement. Each good decision adds to your foundation. Every avoided mistake strengthens your edge. Each patient entry compounds not only your money, but your identity as someone who can be trusted with more, and trust, your own trust in yourself, is the true currency of freedom. As discipline sharpens, something subtle happens. The market stops feeling like a battlefield and starts feeling like a dialogue, one you no longer interrupt with fear or restlessness. You begin recognizing the rhythm of price, how it moves, pauses, tests, traps. You stop reacting to every tick and start observing the intention behind it. And with $100, this awareness becomes your greatest weapon. Because awareness costs nothing, yet saves everything. Most traders never reach this stage because they blow their small account before their mind ever quiets. They convince themselves they need more money to take trading seriously. Not realizing seriousness is what creates more money. But when you treat $100 as if it's the last capital you'll ever receive, your senses sharpen. You stop forcing trades. You stop mistaking volatility for opportunity. You start understanding the difference between price movement and intention. And the market rewards you. Not with immediate profit, but with clarity. And clarity is the seed of every future gain. When I studied the tape, I learned early. The market doesn't need to be predicted. It needs to be understood. And understanding comes only to the trader patient enough to watch without acting. When you let the market reveal its hand, your small account becomes capable of big decisions. Not big in size, but big in quality. Decisions that dodge losses others walk into. Trades that feel calm even before they move, entries that feel inevitable because your preparation was deeper than your desire to be right. This is when the small account truly transforms, not through explosive growth, but through intelligent defense. You begin losing less, not out of luck, but because you no longer donate money to the market through emotional mistakes. You take better setups, not because the strategy evolved, but because you did. You're no longer chasing movement. You're waiting for the market to invite you in, and as your account climbs from $100 to $130, from $130 to $180, you realize something freeing. It's not the money compounding. It's your behavior. Your patience compounds. Your restraint compounds. Your ability to say no compounds. And the fewer trades you take, the smarter they become. The smarter they become, the more consistent your account grows. And consistency is the first real milestone of a trader destined for freedom. The amateur believes freedom comes from big wins. The professional knows it comes from avoiding unnecessary losses. When you finally trust yourself not to sabotage your own progress, the market stops feeling overwhelming. It becomes manageable, predictable in its unpredictability. You no longer rush because you understand the truth. One high-quality trade is worth more than 20 impulsive ones. And slowly, trade by trade, decision by decision, the account grows. Not because you found a perfect system, but because you became the trader who can handle both winning and waiting. The trader no longer battling himself. The trader the market cannot easily shake. The beauty of starting small is that it forces you to respect the pace of compounding in a way a large account never will. With $100, you cannot afford impatience or shortcuts. You cannot afford the arrogance of thinking you know more than the market. Every action must be intentional. Every trade must have purpose. And in that restraint, something remarkable forms. You internalize the principles of wealth that most traders chase all their lives without ever truly learning. Atch traders with huge accounts panic over minor movements while the man with $100 handled the same market calmly. He could afford to wait. He could afford to observe. He could afford to lose nothing. He wasn't allowed to lose, and because of this he avoided the mistakes large accounts amplify. The market rewards discipline, not bravado. It punishes recklessness, not inexperience. And in that truth lies the secret of turning a humble $100 into real financial freedom. Compounding in the account is meaningless if the mind hasn't compounded first. Every dollar protected, every impulsive trade avoided, every moment of restraint is a seed of strength. And when nurtured patiently, these seeds build an inner structure so solid that the account eventually reflects it. The man who can survive, watch, wait, he will be the one whose $100 becomes something the reckless can't even imagine. Let me be direct. Impatience destroys compounding faster than losses. Traders measure growth by percentages, but true growth is measured by the ability to follow rules under pressure. If you can follow your plan at $100, you won't follow it at $10,000. If you can't manage your emotions in boredom or fear, no strategy will rescue you. Discipline is the currency that compounds. Patience is the lever. Integrity to your plan is the mechanism that transforms small beginnings into freedom. And when this truth settles in, everything changes. The noise of charts, signals, and price fluctuations becomes guidance rather than temptation. You act from intelligence, not hope. You trade from observation, not fear. And suddenly that small account becomes the canvas upon which you build the life you envisioned. Not through luck, but through deliberate, repeated choices. The man who masters himself with $100 has already won the war the market cannot touch. And now the final transformation appears, the $100. Once felt tiny, fragile, almost laughable, has evolved, not because of a lucky trade, not because of a sudden market jump, but because you changed. You are no longer the impulsive beginner, the gambler craving excitement, the man terrified of missing out. You are a trader of patience, observation, discipline, a man who knows freedom isn't bought in one trade, but earned in countless disciplined decisions that honor your capital and yourself. At this point, compounding is no longer just financial. It's personal. Every dollar reflects victory over your own flaws. Every gain testifies to your restraint when emotion screamed for action. Every loss avoided proves you've outgrown the impulses that destroy most traders. This is the mindset that transforms $100 into true independence. Because once you master yourself, the market cannot define your outcome. Your discipline, your habits, and your judgment define it. And here lies the final truth. The freedom you desire has always been within you. The money simply reveals it. You began with $100. But the real account was never the balance. It was the trader who learns to wait, the trader who learns to observe, the trader who grows through small, deliberate steps. Most people ignore. That trader does not fear the market. He is not dependent on luck. He is not controlled by chance. He is free, no matter the account size. So when you hold that $100, do not see something small or limiting. See a proving ground, a place to build habits, patience, mastery. Let each decision compound your character as much as your capital. Protect it, respect it. Let the small victories teach you what large wins often hide. And remember, freedom is not a number. It's the ability to act without inner conflict, to follow your plan, to let your mind grow before your money does. Carry this mindset, and nothing can stop you. $100 becomes zone zero. $1,000 becomes $10,000. But more importantly, you become the trader worthy of everything that follows. The market will test you endlessly, but you've already passed the hardest test, yourself, and that is how a single humble $100 becomes the foundation of lasting freedom.